are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
This is Dennis Prager, and I am in When's World, and I love it.
You know, what material can I not do because they're incarcerated? But it turned out incredibly well.
We just recast it, rehab it, refresh it, get some good people on there who can do sports.
To find a place to, get a little cozy.
So it's a vicious cycle, and you can't tease the two apart. It's very difficult to.
Being more intentional in how you're engaging in conversation with the people around you.
We are more than just intellectual beings. We're philosophical. We're spiritual beings.
That's a great happy medium.
Welcome to When's World, where variety reigns.
Time now for Sports Talk with Griffin Adkins.
Why didn't Zeke Elliott just phone a friend or pay someone to run to the pot shop for him? The problem is, we don't have any proof that he actually smoked any weed. Who knows? The guy was just going into a store. Why can't a nice young gentleman just go into a pot store and look around without buying anything? He can look at the menu. He doesn't have to buy or order from it or take from it. He didn't partake, as far as we know. And if he did, it's legal there. Who cares what the NFL says? This guy's a star in the making. Let him do what he wants.
This has been Griffin Adkins with your Sports Report.
This is Larry WACHS, host of the WACHS Modcast on iTunes and Google Play. This is When's World.
So what has the great Larry WACHS been up to this week?
Sell my stuff to an employer.
Well, that's a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, well, it's not a full-time, but it needs to be looked at.
I could see you kind of dabbling in the sports market.
That's what I'm pitching, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's where the fun is in radio. That's where the growth is. Sports is it's just a vehicle for all kinds of fun topics. Other music, food, culture. It's a cultural show.
Yeah.
And if you get in, you do sports, but it's just a launching platform to a broader general topic show, which I'm very interested in doing. And I know enough about sports to do really great. I have enough insights into sports.
Yeah, you go behind the scenes, too. It's not like, the score was 109-99 and blah, 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 had 23 and 13.
Well, you get somebody to do that. You have. Here's my pitch has been: I own the Regular Guys brand, and it would be great in a sports format, Regular Guys Sports. We just recast it, rehab it, refresh it, get some good people on there who can do sports. Get like a jock, meathead, funny co-host, a guy's into numbers, gambling, all that, and X's and O's, right? And there's plenty of them out there. And then you get a producer who has maybe 5% on the airtime, but somebody who's a cutter, somebody who can cut up audio and you get guests, do all the heavy lifting, and also help with the podcasting. But the Regular Guys Sports Show, I think, could be a big hit because I'm still with it, and I am the face of the brand.
Yeah.
And so if you just add some players, I think it could be a terrific show. That's what I'm pitching lately.
Well, you heard it here first in When's World.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I haven't heard anybody who I've told that to say, that's a terrible idea. Everybody said, that's brilliant. It is
brilliant.
So you'll be on the air next week, as one guy told me. Well, we'll see. But maybe not next week, maybe next month. But that's what I'm really going for. And if it's not sports, the brand is still really valid and has a lot of cachet. And it's worked in 2 markets now over 20 years successfully.
Yeah.
It's legendary name. And if I'm still attached to it, it'll continue to be. And you can do it in music formats or general talk formats as well. So that's really what I'm pitching, because I think, I go into some of these meetings and I say, well, the WACHS modcast is this, and here's what I do, and here's how I take that podcast and turn it into a radio show, and the adjustments I make, and I can do 7 different formats because I've done them in my history. And they don't have time. They look at me like, well, I don't know what to do. I can't figure it out. It's too much for me. So, but I think, the Regular Guys show brand, they all know.
Yeah.
And that could be a thing again, just with new cast members. So we have a whole new refreshed brand. It's not all that baggage from the past.
This is so exciting to me.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's what I'm throwing out there. I told any number of people in and out of the business.
When you started talking about this, the sun got brighter. Mm-hmm. The clouds parted.
I did notice that.
It's meant to be.
It is meant to be. These guys on this poster started smiling again. Were they already? I don't know. I recall they were like kind of dour.
They were smirking before. Now it's a legit smile.
Yeah, I noticed that. Rick and Dan and their faith talk.
Yeah, they have a good show, too.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard it, but I like the idea. Faith, family, and fun. See, that's marketing. That's branding. Who doesn't like faith? Who doesn't like family? Who doesn't like fun? That's the foundation of America.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm looking at that show and it says, yeah, we could use a little more faith, family, and fun in America. And that's what, I'm going to steal that. The Regular Guys show, faith, family, and fun with sports.
Yes.
Regular Guys sports, faith, family, fun, sports. Doesn't sound good. I'll cut off the faith. Sports, family, fun.
There you go.
Then we'll get the atheists in.
Well, they have faith in themselves, so they have faith in something.
Yeah. There'll be faith on the show, but, it's not going to be overtly marketed.
Right.
Yeah, unless it's in Birmingham.
Break! Hey, this is the Deej, the sales energizer. And like you, I'm in When's World. It's a frightening place, but we're here. Here's what I want you to do. Listen to the show, the whole show. And then when you're done, go to my website, remedysalesmatch.com. Fill out the subscription form for the newsletter, and I will send you a free book that's going to change your life. The Hitchhiker's Guide to Guaranteed Success. Do it after the show.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. In When's World with not the Japanese guy when you Google Kenn Kington, right?
Well, it's just Kenn with 2 N's.
That differentiates you from the rest of the world.
Pretty much, yeah.
You were rolling with Barbie back in the day, right? My sister had the pink cackalack.
That's right. And he was actually anatomically correct because Kenn had been basically emasculated by Barbie. It's her car and her condo and her pool, and Kenn go do this. So, yeah.
Well, I always found that Kenn had an eye for Skipper. So there was a little something going on there. That was his side
I just
action.
remember that G.I. Joe with Kung Fu grip could pull Barbie's head off and steal the Corvette. So I did that. I did that a few times with my sisters. But yeah.
We here in When's World do not condone domestic violence. We just acknowledge the reality of it. But in all seriousness, here with world-renowned comedian Kenn Kington. Kenn, welcome back to When's World. How you been, man?
I've been good, and it is now world-renowned because I did a show in the Ukraine, and I'm going to be in Mexico later this week or later this month.
Awesome.
So,
dude.
yeah, international.
Very cool. And as of late, you were at Gwinnett County Jail. Tell us about that experience.
I've got a friend. I did a dinner show for a group, and one of the guys came up afterwards. He says, "Hey, is there any chance you could come with me to the Gwinnett County Jail?" And I'm like, "Why would I not do that? That just sounds fun."
Now, did you arrive there in the back of a cop car, or did you go in your own
processing? Car? I did. We actually went in our own car, but I got to say I was a little bit unnerved because you got to turn in. You can't bring anything in with you. So I had to turn in my cell phone and my ID and everything. And I told the lady at the front, I said, "Remember this face. I really don't want to spend the night here tonight." So she just laughed and went in. But I was actually incredibly impressed. I planned on doing about a 30-minute set, ended up there for over an hour. The guys were they were really awesome. I had a blast. And they obviously don't get a lot of live entertainment, and right. I just kind of told my story too and found a little bit of common ground, and it just really clicked. It was just awesome. There one key point that I was just really thinking ahead of time, what do I do here? What material can I not do because they're incarcerated? But it turned out incredibly well.
So what are you up to next? What's going on in Kenn's world?
Let's see. I got a show in Jacksonville tomorrow night, and then I'm in California for 2 days filming with a buddy of mine. He's got a new comedy project coming out, and then I'll be in Greensboro, North Carolina on Sunday night.
Now, Jacksonville, Mississippi or Florida?
Florida.
Oh, I lived there for a couple years.
Did you really? You enjoy bridges?
Oh, man, I love Seven Bridges, man. As a matter of fact, when I lived in Jax, they were doing Touchdown Jacksonville.
Oh, wow.
Getting the approval that they were going to ignore and build anyway. But they gave us that sense of choice and power in choosing whether we're going to have a football franchise or not.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and Jax Beach, those were the glory days.
Yeah, Jax Beach is the OBT. I can't remember how to get out there to it, but yeah, I love the beach. And I've actually done several events down at the TPC Sawgrass.
Oh, okay.
I did a big golf event down there, and I was there the week after the Super Bowl was there.
Whoa.
Which most of the rooms were trashed, which was pretty funny. But but yeah, there's some great spots down there. Any good restaurants down there you recommend?
They're all closed now because of bad health scores. But I enjoyed a good Denny's here and there.
There you go.
Actually, there was one spot that I loved. It was called Damon's, the place for ribs.
Yeah, I've eaten at Damon's. What a great place.
Do they still have the all-you-can-eat?
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
Well, when you do go back, you got to check that out. It was like $15 back then. So given inflation, probably about $24-25
That's
now.
still pretty darn good. Now, Denny's gets a bad rap, but I mean, for comics, Denny's, Waffle House, and IHOP, that's like the trifecta for us.
Well, that's where you can get all your material for your next show.
Absolutely. Not only that, but they're the only places open when we're done with the show. So, I mean, you roll in this is one of my favorite examples. You say you get new material. I don't know where to use it, but I was doing a show with a couple other guys. We're at Waffle House at literally 1:30 in the morning, and we're just having fun, hanging out. We're the only people in Waffle House. And this guy walks in, no shoes, dirty jeans, unshaven, dirty T-shirt, and he walks to the back corner, and he's got a guitar and an amp, and he puts the amp on the table and puts a cup on the edge of the table that says tips and plugs in and starts to play the worst rendition of Stairway to Heaven I've ever heard. And we're like, this is your plan? 1:30 in the morning at Waffle House with nobody there.
Well, in fairness, I do get nervous in front of large crowds, so I decided I'd start small and build my audience up.
You cut your hair shorter. Now I recognize you.
Well, thanks. I like to stay incognito, if you will. But did you enjoy it? I felt like I got better as the song progressed.
You did. About minute 14, it really started to come together. So that was great. But I'm glad you got a button down now instead of just a regular T-shirt. That's awesome.
Hash browns on me, everybody.
For me, they're on me. I got a $4 tip. This is great. So, but that cracks me up. I mean, this guy woke up that day and that was his plan. I'm going to Waffle House 1:30 in the morning and I'm going to get tips from nobody.
Well, us radio folks got to make a living somehow.
So you're literally moonlighting with a guitar in the corner at Waffle House.
Ken, it's been so good to have you in When's World, man. We got to have you back. Kenn Kington, Google him, 2 N's, and KennKington.com for all upcoming shows, DVDs, T-shirts, coffee mugs, and underwear, correct?
And guitar picks.
Thanks again, Ken.
Man, great to see you.
The Out of Control Atlanta Traffic Watch.
Indeed, it is out of control, but let me tell you who is in control of all things. The very latest on Atlanta traffic, the one, the only, the voice of Atlanta traffic himself, Mr. Chris Monroe.
Not only my thumb on the pulse, but my whole hand on all thy traffic across Metro Atlanta.
And under your thumb, you can tell us what is going on.
Ooh, Lord have mercy. Can you tell that school has been back in? Has it not been worse every stinking morning out there? I told you it was out of control.
Yeah, I just started drinking earlier in the day.
Well, that's good. Somebody tweeted at me today that somebody was pouring a flask out of their left driver's side window at like 10 o'clock this morning. So
one for me, one for my homies.
That's what we're getting into, man, now is hour-long delays down 75 every morning. 575 is jacked up. And they say that the express lanes on the south side are going to open in the next couple of months down there on 75 on the South Expressway. So maybe that'll lessen that up down in McDonough a little bit.
It's always red down there.
Oh, it's horrible.
I can't imagine living on the south side. I'm so thankful to be north of I-20.
You got all that truck traffic between Florida and Atlanta. They say that's the busiest corridor of 75 in the whole nation. So that's hopefully gonna help that a little bit. But traffic has been really bad. And look, we haven't even gotten into the rainy fall season yet when everybody is back in. I'm not trying to be, I'm just telling you, it is going to be bad. And if you've got a situation where you can do some flex time, you don't have to come in at like 9 o'clock or in the middle of all that. You can come in at 10 or come in at 6. I would do it. Or if they'll let you work at home, try to do that too.
That's good stuff. It's been a while since we've revisited the old days, the days of One Time at Band Camp.
Yes.
Nerd alert!
Cool. We're going to have such a good time. It'll be like this one time at band camp.
One time at band camp. Man, and the hormones just rage at band camp. And nobody really tells you that, but they do unless you... And you were in band, out there what I'm talking about. And I met this girl named Melanie. She was a flute player at band camp. I was a mighty sophomore, and she was a freshman. And we went over into the Quad Common to find a place to, get a little cozy, and begin a little smooch fest, if you will, little making out session there. And one of the chaperones caught me, and they put me in purgatory. They put me down in the jail, put my hands in handcuffs, and and kept me away from all the young ladies for the rest of band camp, Joey. And didn't end up well. My parents had to come pick me up. Oh, just the old memories and one time at band camp.
He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B.
Friends, right after this short break, we are back in When's World with Weird Science. For a mere $150 million, you too can vacation to the moon. Details upcoming.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
This is Eddie Mayfield with EMA. That's EMAINC.net. I'm in Wynn's World, and we love it.
Hey, this is the Deeds, the sales energizer. And like you, I'm in Wynn's World. It's a frightening place, but we're here. This is what I want you to do. Listen to the show, the whole show. And then when you're done, go to my website, remedysalesmatch.com. Fill out the subscription form for the newsletter, and I will send you a free book that's going to change your life. The Hitchhiker's Guide to Guaranteed Success. Do it after the show.
From my heart and from my hands, why don't people understand my intentions?
I'm in Wynn's World, and I love it.
Weird.
Yep, weird science time, and we are back with founder and president of Reasons to Believe, Dr. Hugh Ross. How are you, Hugh?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Thanks for coming back. You know, Dr. Hugh Ross is an astronomer, and he's written a couple books, including Why the Universe is the Way It Is, Hidden Treasures in the Book of Job, and he co-authored Navigating Genesis. There's been a lot of talk about people vacationing, and not vacationing just anywhere, but the moon. Now, Dr. Ross, in your opinion, besides the all-you-can-eat cheese factor, what are the potential benefits of vacationing to the moon?
Well, you get to have a close look at the moon. However, they're not going to land you on the moon. For $150 million, you simply orbit the moon. But hey, you get to go around the moon and take a look at the backside as well as the front side.
So for $150 million, I can check out the dark side of the moon.
That's right.
So why wouldn't I just sit at home and listen to Pink Floyd on my couch for $12?
Well, you got a point there. Why not just look at images that NASA takes from even closer? And save the $150 million.
So would Dr. Hugh Ross go to the moon if you had a check for $150 right now?
I probably would not, because I'm an adventurer. I love adventure. I just got back from a mountaineering vacation, but I always want to make sure that I don't suffer permanent injury to my body. And the problem with going to the moon is that you are going to experience bone mass loss. You're in zero gravity. And if you're in zero gravity for a couple of weeks, there will be permanent consequences. Now, being only 2 weeks, it's not that severe. And also, you run the risk of running into a radiation event. I mean, notice that when the Apollo astronauts went to the moon, it was 3 or 4 days only. They picked a window where they knew that the radiation risk would be minor. But if you're going for a couple of weeks, there's no guarantee.
Again, we are with Dr. Hugh Ross. He's founder and president of Reasons to Believe, where faith and science converge. Now, in your opinion, and based off all of the knowledge that you have, because you're an astronomer, which would be more exciting, a trip to the moon or a trip to Mars?
Well, I'd be really hesitant on a trip to Mars, just because I don't think there's a very good chance I would get back alive. I mean, it's a much farther away. You're definitely going to be exposed to very serious radiation, and we're talking years to get to Mars and back, not just days.
So when we watch these movies, people travel to the moon and other planets, they end up unscathed. But what's the real reality behind that kind of travel and the risks to the human body?
Well, the risk is, number one, you do not have Earth gravity. Earth gravity is optimal for mobility and for human experience. And you can go to one of the NASA facilities and see what it's like to experience 1/6 gravity like on the moon, or 4/10 gravity like on Mars. You discover a significant loss of mobility and balance. So if we need our gravity, and especially for a long trip, you're going to want to simulate Earth gravity, and that makes for a very, very expensive trip. And then you've got to protect yourself from radiation. I mean, you like to have about a foot thickness of lead, but now you're talking about a very heavy spacecraft. And this is why NASA's figured out that machines are the way to go. You don't have to protect them from radiation. They don't need gravity, and therefore you can send a much smaller spacecraft for a lot less money. And for the price of sending men to Mars, you could send 1 million unmanned spacecraft to Mars. So in terms of pure science, they're going to be way ahead sending machines than trying to send people. And with all the technology we have, for example, we have no assurance that we can get people to Mars and back without killing them.
Well, yeah, you don't want to sign that waiver form there. Again, if you're just joining us, we are with founder and president of Reasons to Believe on Twitter at @RTB_official, astronomer and Dr. Hugh Ross. Now, as we wrap things up, the overall arching question here is, what is it inside of all of us, whether we believe in a God or not, that calls us to go on these trips and want to explore these unknown regions of the world?
I think God created us to be inherently curious and curious about everything. What amazes me about my science colleagues is the degree of personal risk that they will engender just to be able to learn something that no one else yet knows. I think that's in all of us. We all love to explore. I mean, for example, you got people climbing K2 where there's a 4 in 10 chance you'll die. People do that. And, you know, people are actually signing up for a one-way trip to Mars. Knowing that, hey, maybe we can get people there, but we're not going to get them back. People actually are signing up. Thousands have signed up for that. So that's something within us that yearns for more knowledge. But I think that's also a calling within us to discover truth about ourselves, about God, why we're here. And, that tells me we are more than just intellectual beings. We're philosophical. We're spiritual beings.
We have been with author and astronomer Dr. Hugh Ross. He founded and is president of Reasons to Believe online, reasons.org. It's there you can find devotionals, Bibles, books, all sorts of cool resources to help you on your search for truth. And of course, on Twitter at RTB_official. Dr. Ross, as always, thank you for taking the time to visit When's World. We appreciate you.
You're very welcome.
Yes, health and wellness right around the corner, featuring holistic nutritionist Mrs. Margaret Schwenke, and of course, our compadre, Mrs. Amber Berry of West Side Yoga right here in Atlanta. Back right after this.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey everybody, this is Jenny McCormick Earhart, inviting you to join me every Saturday at 1 o'clock on the Southern Sisters Radio Show, the show for Southern women and the men who adore us. We talk about everything from life in the South to food in the South to romance in the South. So hit me up at my website, southernsistershome.com, or follow me on Facebook. I'm in When's World, and I love it.
I'm Amber Berry with Crazy Healthy Radio. Come visit me at Westside Yoga on Howell Mill Road in the month of September, and your first week is free for new students. It's National Yoga Month, and we would love to meet you on the mat. I'm in When's World, and I love it.
Friends, welcome back to When's World. We're taking a holistic spin toward nutrition this week, and with us now is Margaret Schwenke. She's a holistic nutritionist and eating psychologist, and I wanted to get into the behaviors that we learn in childhood and possibly take with us into our adult years.
Absolutely. I think there are some people whose families did not necessarily prepare them well for how to nourish their bodies. And so their diets are entirely devoid of like fruits and vegetables or,
Right.
you know, anything that's going to really give them energy and nourish them and provide health. And so, you know, the other side of that is, can also be very extreme. You know, people can get super extreme with food and body, right? Super restrictive or like super, overeating, indulging, binging, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, every time I've tried to do that, go extreme, I always fall off the wagon 4 days later.
Yeah, that makes
sick of
total
it.
sense. Yeah, right. Like super, like restriction breeds obsession, you know?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I love that. Will you say that one more time?
Restriction breeds obsession.
Wow. And it's so true. I mean, like I said, 4 days later, I'm back to square one. Then I'm depressed because I didn't follow through.
Yeah.
And then I'd eat more Star Crunches.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And everyone that has ever dieted, you know, and tried to control the way that they eat really restrictively has probably had that experience. The pendulum has to swing in the other direction at some point.
So where do we find that happy place, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's through mindfulness. That is the biggest window for people to find what truly is going to make them happy. Because, right, like at the end of the day, that's really all we're all looking for is to be happy.
Right.
And so I don't really believe that there's a right choice and a wrong choice. As I said earlier, it's not that, you know, eating this way or that way is the right thing for you. How do I know that for you, how you feel best, right? So I think that it's important to recognize that there's a space of gray area there for figuring that out.
In that tension between good and better,
Mm-hmm.
do you find more people want to lean toward the short-term satisfaction or the long-term satisfaction? And which one do you prefer to steer them towards?
That's an awesome question because I think that, you know, both exist for all of us, certainly, right? But the reason that people come to me is because they've identified a long-term goal. In their higher conscious brain, they have an ideal, right?
Right.
And that's when they're in their most conscious self. So, let's say that's, I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to implement a particular exercise, routine. But then in our immediate gratification self, we are subject to the others swing in the other direction of like wanting, like craving something or feeling lazy and not wanting to get up. And so there are exercises to help people bring in that previously identified goal that they want to achieve into those daily moments so that they actually have more of a choice instead of just giving into whatever that immediate gratification is calling for. They can actually have a little bit more space through mindfulness of like, wait a second. I know that like that piece of chocolate cake looks really incredible, but for me personally, I've identified that I want to lose 20 pounds. So which choice do I want to make? And it just comes down to being happy with your choice.
Or you can eat chocolate cake while you're doing wall squats.
That's a great happy medium. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad we could agree on that.
Super awesome compromise.
Again, we are with eating psychology counselor Margaret Schwenke. You can find her online, Margaret Schwenke, SCHWENKE.com, and on Facebook too at Margaret Schwenke Authentic Nourishment.
Well, I would like to take the opportunity to say that I have 2 locations in Atlanta, if you don't mind. I see clients at one location here in Buckhead. It's called True Integrative Health and Wellness. I'm a part of a great wellness practice there. And then also I work with Westside Yoga and Atlanta Integrative Medical, which is over off of Howell Mill. So both really great service providers in the community and would love for people to check them out.
Oh, that's so cool. So next week we'll get into the emotional side of the transaction between the plate and my mouth.
That sounds great. That's a huge space to work in.
I do have a big mouth.
Not what I meant, but okay. Yeah. I think, you know, we all, food is emotional for many of us. And so creating a little bit more understanding of why we make the choices that we make and understanding how not to let our emotions hijack that process is really important.
So hashtag why Entenmann's why.
Yes. Done.
Awesome. I'll see you then. I can't wait.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Break.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
This is When's World. You're just living in it.
Oh, it's so good to have our frequent yoga contributor and my sensei, Amber Berry of West Side Yoga. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you today?
So good. You know, it's so good to have you back. Last week we talked about the foundations of where you're coming from in terms of the business you started and looking at it as a community instead of a business, and how it's grown exponentially because of that point of view alone is astounding. And this week you came in, and I think this is a fascinating topic. I got to be honest, I completely overlook a lot of facets of the word violent and violence, right?
Right.
Can you kind of explain where you're coming from when you talk about the word violence?
Absolutely. And yoga comes with a set of 10 core values. And this is one of the things that we teach at Westside Yoga in a way that is subtle, but the longer you practice with us, the more you'll start to understand this belief system that we have, that our thoughts become our values become our actions, and our actions determine the quality of life that we have. And we all deserve to be happy and healthy. And so understanding that ahimsa is one of the core values, being nonviolent, is a really important part of approaching your mat. And so ahimsa is the idea that we should live a nonviolent life. And that means not only, don't hit your neighbor, don't shoot your neighbor, but also don't be violent to yourself. Don't think negative thoughts about yourself, and don't think negative thoughts about your neighbor, and that our actions can be violent as well. Even if they are not physically violent, they can be damaging.
So I want to kind of challenge you on that. What would be the difference between observation and violence? So in other words, if I'm a bad neighbor and don't mow my lawn for 3 weeks straight, and my neighbors look at me and say, he's a bad neighbor, is that them being violent or them just noticing that I haven't taken care of business?
It's about choosing your thoughts intentionally. And so if you notice that your grass should be cut, instead of thinking something that comes from a place of shame, thinking, you know what, it would be a good thing for me to cut the grass so that my neighbors would have a more beautiful environment to come home to. And it's about reframing the conversations you have with yourselves. And as human beings, we are prone to self-judgment.
Right.
And it's about learning to recognize that, be the witness to how your mind is working, and know that you can control your thoughts in a way that supports you and the world around you.
So what are some things that you've seen in the news as of late that maybe I wouldn't define as violence, but with your yoga background, how you could see that as a violent behavior in terms of verbal interaction, a conversation, a statement, and so on and so forth?
Well, and I have to kind of walk a line here between observation and judgment, because as yogis, non-judgment is one of the most important values, one of the highest values. And so I say these things not in a judgmental way, but just an observation. You know, a lot of what's happening with the election is very violent. The words, the accusations, the way it's being carried out. And of course, the Ryan Lochte scandal comes to mind.
Yeah.
And he didn't, well, they did do some things that were physically abusive in that bathroom, but also just not being considerate of the effect, the damage that their statements would have on the reputation of their host country is a violent act. And so if he were a yogi, he would have taken that into consideration before making that statement, before taking some of the actions that he took.
If we're trying to monitor ourselves in terms of capturing our thoughts and choosing them intentionally, what are some easy and quick ways that we can sort of adopt that lifestyle of choosing our thoughts intentionally based on your practice and expertise in the world of yoga?
The easiest thing to add to your habits is to pause before responding to someone when you're in conversation, to stop and truly consider what has been said and where it came from and how to reply in a way that honors the value of ahimsa or nonviolence. And satya, truthfulness, is another one of the values, but being more intentional in how you're engaging in conversation with the people around you.
Wow, that's such good stuff. Again, if you're just joining us, we are with Amber Berry of Westside Yoga right off of Howell Mill Road in Atlanta. And connect with her on Twitter at Westside Yoga ATL and crazyhealthyamber.com.
You know what is really bugging me right now?
Yeah, what's bugging you?
This is the first time in history that we will elect a president who is not focused on physical fitness, who is not clearly physically fit. I don't know if we've even had a candidate who, I mean, can you think of a candidate we've even had that was maybe one or two? I can think of maybe one or two, but it just feels like physical fitness was really important during the Bush era and Barack Obama with his basketball, and like just kind of bugging me that it's not part of the political conversation. Like health and wellness is not part of the.
I think that's a great point. I think a lot of society ignores the physical aspect. The only candidate that comes to mind that has climbed to the highest peak of all seven continents is Gary Johnson.
That's inspiring.
It's so inspiring. And it almost seems like what you said before, physical fitness is on the back burner over, mental prowess and a spiritual side of us. But I really do think that it's one of the most overlooked aspects of wellness and well-being, particularly in America.
It's not about what you look like. It's about how you feel and how much control you have over the circumstances of your life. And in order to maximize the opportunities we've been given, we have to be strong from the inside out. There are definitely times to indulge, but we do it in moderation. And that's the whole idea of yin and yang. And that's why I'm so excited about my show, Crazy Healthy Radio. It's where East meets West for vibrant health. And I can't get that mantra out of my head. The East meets West for vibrant health, balancing our Western lifestyle with some of these Eastern philosophies that have been around for thousands of years.
I'm so excited to have you back, and I can't wait to have you back next week. And this idea of nonviolence, especially in a verbal form, is something to be explored. I know I need to think about that more. And my tendency, if I'm gut level honest with you, is quick retort, snap back, sarcasm, because it's quick and it's easy. But sometimes what's quick and easy isn't always the best for the long term.
It's not that you can't do that, but you do it with awareness. And you are aware of how your words might be hurting others. This has been a big topic of conversation in the Crazy Healthy House lately, is how our words can hurt others. And so maybe we get a laugh out of 5 of the people in the room, but the person we were talking to has their feelings hurt. And so you have to balance that and think about what kind of person you want to be. And so learning to witness your thoughts is really the key to all of this. And that's what yoga is. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha is the first line in the Yoga Sutras. And it means yoga is the calming of the mind stuff. It means that you control your thoughts so that you can use your life in the most meaningful way. So be the witness.
Amber, as always, it's a pleasure to have you in One's World. Thank you so much for coming by.
Always a joy. Thanks for having me, Joey.
They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. We're talking epigenetics right after this break with author and scientist Kayt Sukel. Stick with us.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Hey everybody, this is Jenny McCormick Earhart, inviting you to join me every Saturday at 1 o'clock on the Southern Sisters Radio Show, the show for Southern women and the men who adore us. We talk about everything from life in the South to food in the South to romance in the South. So hit me up at my website, southernsistershome.com, or follow me on Facebook. I'm in Wynn's World, and I love it.
Hey, this is the Deeds, the sales energizer. And like you, I'm in Wynn's World. It's a frightening place, but we're here. This is what I want you to do. Listen to the show, the whole show. And then when you're done, go to my website, remedysalesmatch.com. Fill out the subscription form for the newsletter, and I will send you a free book that's going to change your life, The Hitchhiker's Guide to Guaranteed Success. Do it after the show.
I'm Amber Berry with Crazy Healthy Radio here with your health tip of the week. So if you have a sweet tooth like I do, you can learn a lot from the ancient practice of Ayurveda. Ayurveda categorizes food into taste groups. We have sweet, salty, spicy, sour, bitter, and pungent foods. And when I'm craving sweets, I try to eat something from a different category. My favorite is to eat a whole grapefruit when I get those chocolate cravings. And the bitterness of the grapefruit actually cures me of my sweet cravings, and I get something healthy instead of something that could be disastrous.
Welcome back to Wynn's World with return visitor Kayt Sukel, author of the book This Is Your Brain on Sex, the science behind the search for love. How you doing, Kayt?
I am well, thanks. We're going to talk about epigenetics today.
Yeah, I wanted to find some more things to blame my parents for, so I thought I'd bring you back so we can talk about this. And
well, you actually might be blaming your beloved grandmother or grandfather. So I don't know how far you want to take this.
Unacceptable.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. They were great people. I'd much rather, roast on people that are still living so I can go over there and talk to them about it. But
oh, understood. Well, I mean, epigenetics, so we've been talking forever about our genes, right? We're the sum of all of our genes, and this idea, except that, a gene, we talk about it as if it's responsible for a behavior or a trait, but for the most part, all a gene does is it codes a protein. And so what you can kind of think about if you're thinking about epigenetics, it means like above the genome. So if your genome was sort of the hardware of your body, your computer, the epigenome is like the software. What it's doing is it's telling those genes when to make those proteins, when to turn off and on. So that means that, there are environmental variables that can tweak that software. Same way that your annoying Microsoft, is going to send you that update right when you're about to finish up an important paper or something. The environment may send signals. And that could be about what you eat, what you don't eat, what you're, who you're around, and also what happened to your grandparents. So one of the interesting epigenetic studies actually has to do with eating behavior and obesity. And what it did is it looked at people who lived in the Netherlands after World War II. And if you know your history, you know that people who lived in the Netherlands, it was taken over by the Germans. They were basically starving. And when they sort of followed this down, all of a sudden they found out that their children, if they survived the war, were really obese. They had a tendency to put on extra weight. So there was something about living in this starving environment that set off a software program so that their children would want to eat more, would want to, go for higher calorie foods, because it was telling them, the environment was telling them, hey, yeah, sure, things are good now, but we could go to a starvation situation again. What's interesting about this is that there have been researchers who look at pair bonding and particularly parenting. And what they find, and this is where the epigenetics comes into love and relationships, is that you have rats or prairie voles, and, moms take care of their young, not quite the same way that we do, but you have sort of moms that give a lot of attention. They're called high-licking and grooming moms, and then you have low-licking and grooming moms. And what you see is that the offspring of low-licking and grooming moms, they tend to be more sexually promiscuous. They tend to start getting busy earlier in life. They treat their attachment and social relationships very differently than the offspring of high-licking and grooming moms.
So is what you're saying basically, and if you're just joining us again, we're with author Kayt Sukel. She wrote the book, This Is Your Brain on Sex, and we're talking about epigenetics, and AKA it's my mama's fault. But are you asserting that the more attentive moms would produce pups that are kind of more coy and reserved and less sexually promiscuous?
Well, what they're saying is, because, of course, the researchers that do this work are very careful, and they'll tell you that this is not a good mother, bad mother distinction.
Right.
Because this isn't necessarily about psychology or behavior. What you're seeing is that this high-licking and grooming or this low-licking and grooming behavior actually makes changes to that computer program, if we're continuing that metaphor, the software.
Right.
And so it's changing the neurotransmitters and the brain chemicals and the receptors in the brain, which then changes behavior.
Oh, so it'd be like that software update on the iPhone every 2 months, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Except in this case, that annoying software update means that you're going to be, sexually mature before some of your peers will be, or you're going to be more likely to be monogamous or not monogamous.
Wow.
And so what's really interesting about that, and again, this isn't a good mother, bad mother thing. This doesn't mean, okay, I'm going to helicopter parent my babies to make sure that they never, ever, ever have sex, because it doesn't quite work like that.
Right.
But what it means is that you have these social behaviors, from a young age, and, this is especially interesting because so many of us now, come from blended families or are part of blended families. The environment can really change. And at the neurobiological level, again, this is not psychology,
right.
This is not what have you, the way that your brain develops when it comes to putting together these connections to facilitate social relationships. And that's fascinating because that means that, and it's multi-generational. It's not just your parents. It's the way your grandparents did it and whatever else. These things can carry down the line. So if you wonder sometimes, why your friend, Arnold never seemed to settle down, he goes from lady to lady for the weekend, it may have been some kind of social signal. I'm not saying that his mom was a low-licking and grooming mom because, that's kind of weird.
Right.
But there may be some kind of social signals in his early childhood or in his parents' childhood or in his grandparents' childhood, that makes it so he has fewer, certain receptors or fewer molecules of different neurotransmitters in his brain.
Wow. So there's really no separating our brains and biology from where we grew up.
Biology does not exist in a vacuum, and we would like it to. but it really doesn't. And so, the way that we form our attachments, the way we keep our attachments, all of those behaviors, they're a mix of both biology and environment, and it's important to realize that. It's not just your biology, changing the way that you interact with the world, but it's the world actually changing the way that your biology, particularly your neurobiology, is developing as well. So it's a vicious cycle, and you can't tease the two apart. It's very difficult to.
And at Kayt Sukel on Twitter, and of course her website, KaytSukel.com. I love how you tie in accountability to our choices, because in the next chapter, we're talking about hormones, and though we have them, we're not slaves to them. So we ultimately do get to make a choice in terms of our actions, words, and attitudes.
I know that people don't want to hear that.
No,
they just want to think that, their hormones did it, it's all their fault. But nope, we do have control. Ultimately, we have these big, giant frontal lobes that can help us make decisions. But hormones definitely play a big role in, not just sex, but also love.
Because next week, we're going to talk about that accountability that author Kayt Sukel is so elegantly speaking about. Kayt, always a pleasure to have you in One's World. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Friends, it means the world to me that you took the time to listen to this edition of When's World Radio. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. In the meantime, head to SoundCloud.com or download the free app in your app store. In the search bar, When's World.
Excellent!
Friends of When's World, I'd like to leave you this week with some music by a friend of mine. His name is Martin Joseph. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia. Check his music out, martinjosephmusic.com. Without further ado, a little ditty called Georgia Time.
He's wide awake, just thinking about her. And from time to time, he sends her flowers. He's counting down all the hours. Stuck in this place without her. And so he fills his days with a job he's there to do. He'll shake your hand, look you in the eye, say I'm fine. How about you? It keeps him going, but it breaks him down. Every time he gets to thinking about those home lights shining in that small town. Cause it's the way she makes the wrongs right, coming home and holding on tight, finding what you thought you lost, it being worth the cost. Everything is alright, look at that sun, they're shining bright. It's a new day and he got peace of mind, cause his heart's on Georgia time. It's beating like a drum that's counting out that beat to a song inside that keeps him on his feet. To hear her voice, such a pretty sound, and he'd give the world he's halfway around. Cause it's the way she makes the wrongs right, coming home and holding on tight, finding what you thought you lost, it being worth the cost. Everything is alright, look at that sun, they're shining bright. It's a new day and he got peace of mind, cause his heart's on Georgia time. But he didn't choose what he's dreaming of. No, that's just his heart doing what it does. Cause it's the way she makes the wrongs right, coming home and holding on tight, finding what you thought you lost, it being worth the cost. Everything is alright, look at that sun, they're shining bright. It's a new day and he got peace of mind, cause his heart's on Georgia time. And it's the way she makes the wrongs right, coming home and holding on tight, finding what you thought you lost, it being worth the cost. Everything is alright, look at that sun, they're shining bright. It's a new day and he got peace of mind, cause his heart's on Georgia time.
is fire, straight from the lips of Martin Joseph, martinjosephmusic.com. That song called Georgia Time. Can't wait to talk to you next week, KLRN family. In the meantime, have a great week and take care.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.